Hello, Rick James, bringing us into hour 3. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And, you know, we can be a little cold-blooded, a little bit, through Rick James. I love it. The original bad boy. So listen, before we got back here, we were talking about, you know, the situation with Deion Sanders, obviously, and his effect on college football right now. Obviously, Colorado has found a way to pay him and making up for the expenditures that they put out there. If you saw the athletic director's hug to Deion after that win the other day, it was like, you know, Deion just delivered his firstborn or something like that. It was amazing. But really, I mean, they feel like he is worth whatever comes along with Deion.
Where's the doubt? Why are people doubting him? Where's the doubt?
You know, various different talent that Jackson State was playing, you know, all of the excuses that we could come down with. And I think Jackson State lost their first game. I don't know. You know, might have just happened. Could just be a coincidence. Not saying that. We don't wish them any bad, you know, will. We hope that those students that committed to the program when they thought that Deion was there will have just as much success under the new coach. And, you know, that the culture that he instilled and the belief that he got his players to buy into, that feeling, you know, that sort of camaraderie lasts, and that those players are successful as well. But I mean, he's obviously speaking life into these students. You see what happens during the game. You see how the shoulders are a little straighter, their backs and everything. There is something about the confidence that he instills in them that I do believe extends beyond just football. I mean, of course, it remains to be seen if that's true, but it seems like, it feels like, you know, he is also holding them down in that manner as well. So yeah, you know, you're going to get a lot with Deion. You're going to get a little bit of controversy, a lot of attention, but you're also going to get culture. And I think that that is one of the most important aspects of all of this, because he comes from a time when discipline, obviously discipline is always valued, but it was more, I feel, something that was required from everyone around you, not just like, again, not implying that the players now are not disciplined or things like that. It's just a different time. It's a different time for athletes. It's a different time as far as their passion for the game. And I just think that that is apparent sometimes. And you can see it show itself in in various ways when you're looking at performance, social media, personal brands, etc. Andy?
It got me thinking about once again, you know, I was talking about Beyonce being here at SoFi and how she's boosting the economy. Mm-hmm. Deion Sanders is definitely boosting the economy in Colorado.
For sure.
I think when it comes to viewership on TV, I feel like, and I could be all the way wrong, but this was like the first week for college football.
Yep.
I haven't seen the numbers, but I like to assume
I'll have the numbers tomorrow. I didn't think to bring them. I'm gonna see, but I already know where you're going.
Through the roof.
It's gonna. Listen. They have sold. What did we just say? They have sold out their season tickets for the first time in 27 years.
Come on now.
Since 1996.
Hope is in Colorado.
Hope is an amazing motivator, right? Listen, and it feels like more than hope, because look what they did in game 1.
Absolutely.
And look who they did it to.
Yep.
And the thing is, like, they didn't play a great game in theory. You know, not taking away anything, but just, you know, it's week 1. There's still some tweaks and some things that they have to make. And they came out there and looked pretty amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, they have 2 players, right? Deion Sanders' son, and I believe Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
I don't know what their odds were for the Heisman, but it significantly jumped higher after this game. I think it was like 100-1. Now it's like 20-something to 1 for both individuals. So I'm loving it, and trust me, I'm a Pac-12 guy. I'm a UCLA guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
How do you feel about the Pac-12's collapse?
You know, a lot of the stuff that's going on obviously is probably over my head, but it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks because, you know, me growing up, it was the Pac-10 obviously, and I just felt like when you look at the Pac-10 sports on a national level, the Pac-10 really didn't get that much respect like that.
Right.
You know, people look at the SEC, the AEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, and all them, but they never showed love to the Pac-10 like that. Even when USC was on top, when Reggie Bush and them was winning chips, I don't think people really looked at the Pac-10 or respected the Pac-10 the way they did. So it is kind of sad to see a lot of these schools fall off. I get it, you know, it's all about money, but you know, it is what it is.
We will have to see what develops and what happens. One thing that is for sure, you know, the average resale price for tickets to a Colorado game this year, last year was $198. This year, it's already at $239. We're 1 week in to the season. So everybody's making dough. Everybody is making money. It's expected to go up next weekend because, you know, next weekend, as we mentioned, Colorado's their first home game. It's against Nebraska. And it's been selling out their last year's games by an average of 1,500%. Right now, the average resale is $434. So, listen, generating a lot of income, generating a lot of views, generating a lot of eyes. I think if Deion spent 2 years here and then moved around, right? And let's say both were winning seasons and maybe some type of, you know, college bowl appearance, maybe a winning that in season 2. Is that a success? Is that enough for him to ride out with?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Winning this game is a success. If I'm not mistaken, Colorado's record, I don't know what the record was, but they only won 1 game last season.
Yeah.
So they already matched what they did last season. So they win again next week, or they win the second game, it's a success for them.
Okay. Well, you know, we will have to see what what evolves. Thomas Outlaw said last hour, at a certain point, Sanders has to follow God's will and go to the NFL. At that point, someone's NIL deal will be bigger than Deion's words, and it's a wrap. So, you know, we shall see. We're going to see. It's going to be interesting following this. Now, when we come forward, we will get into, you know, the agreements. Diddy's giving people back their stuff. But is it really as generous as it sounds? I'll get into that. And, of course, more trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hello, I'm Kate Levy. When I was just 10 years old, I lost my father, Joe, in the 9/11 attacks at the World Trade Center. He was a lieutenant in the New York City Fire Department. For 9/11 this year, now a National Day of Service, I'll be doing what my dad loved to do, helping others in need. Please join me by doing your own good deed that day. Visit 911day.org to learn more.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And, you know, I would be out of line if I didn't mention the quarterfinals that went down tonight in the U.S. Open. For the first time, 2 black men faced off against each other, Ben Shelton and Francis Tiafoe. Shout out to Ben Shelton. He won. He took that. He did that. I did not see the match because why? I'm here with y'all. But I'm going to check it out and go back and look. We know that, well, maybe you don't know, but Francis has been making a name for himself. He's kind of like the bad boy of tennis, for lack of a better term, you know, outspoken, not really in the mode. So what I will say, though, we also have Coco Gauff and Madison Keys in the quarterfinals. So shout out to us, you know, representing beyond Serena and Venus as far as the tennis world. And we haven't, I feel like since Arthur Ashe, maybe, no, what's the guy's name? James Blake? I think James Blake was the last black tennis player I remember as far as a male that made an impact. So love to see more of us donning our tennis whites and storming the court and reminding them we're here. That's always a good thing. So let me know if you've been tapping into the U.S. Open. And since we're on our sports thing, I neglected to mention, you know, the Stars really were out this weekend in L.A. So reminder that the L.A. Football Club played Inter Miami, and they now have Lionel Messi, right? So that game was September 3rd. So let me just really quickly, not everyone, but I'm going to run down a few of the people that were on hand for that matchup because, like I said, it's LA and everybody's showing up. So it's like Will Ferrell was there. He's also a partial owner of, LAFC. Magic, also a partial owner. LeBron was in the building. Dodgers Clayton Kershaw. Bobo from Cypress Hill. James Harden was in the building. Leonardo DiCaprio. Gerard Butler. Mookie Betts from the Dodgers. B Real from Cypress Hill. King Bach. Stephen Yin. Stephen Yin. There we go. He's an actor. Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner, USC QB. Mario Williams, USC wide receiver. Just the list goes on and on and on. You know, so when we say that we are the home of stars and we show up for our winners, like, it's not a game. It's not a suggestion. It's real life over here. We're making it happen. Also, shout out to those people that were at the Burning Man Festival in the Nevada desert. They got trapped there because of the weather. Tens of thousands of people were attending the concert. They got trapped. They had to conserve food. The porta potty situation was not nice because obviously the porta potties couldn't be changed out because the roads were closed. If you were like Diplo and Chris Rock, they met some fans who helped them get out 6 miles. Diplo said that he was busting up laughing because Chris Rock looked shook. Chris Rock also managed to make it back from Burning Man to make it to Beyonce the other night. So, he had pressing things. Thank God for fans, and you didn't have to be stuck out there in the desert trying to figure it out. So while we are still on our sports bag, in our sports venture, this week was the battle officially of the morning sports shows. We know there's been a switch up in cast. First Take debuted their Monday, Tuesday lineup of Shannon Sharp, who formerly of Undisputed on FS1, and and Stephen A. Smith. And it was interesting. Shannon is still rounding into form. He called Stephen A. Skip twice. So much so that Skip, now I'm doing it. So much so that Stephen A. wore a name badge today that says Stephen A. to remind Shannon who he's talking to. On the other end, last week we had Undisputed debut with their rotating cast, which includes Keyshawn Johnson, who looks like he's going to be a mainstay day to day. Michael Irvin looks like he comes in Mondays and Tuesdays to talk football. We got Rachel Nichols popping in there, Lil Wayne on Fridays. He had some other Young Money affiliates on the other day. That was just really awkward. And I get it. I know, a favor for a favor. Lil Wayne has the new song, Good Morning. So, they were trying to, shake it up, give their people a new look. But I'm wondering from you, got Andy's opinion, but I'm wondering for you, which morning show are you rocking with? Which team do you envision spending your mornings with throughout the season? Because, we're just a couple days away. Andy?
It's always going to be both for me. It's always.
You're a channel flipper.
No, I'm a DVR person.
Okay.
So, I'm sleep when they're live. I'm here until midnight, so they come on.
A little late.
6:30 in the morning or whatnot. So I'm sleep when they're live, but I catch both.
I'm here till midnight too, and I am not asleep.
Oh, well, shout out to you.
You like da.
Shout out to you.
I don't know how to turn it off. Like I'm up at 5.
I'm probably up at that time, and that's probably when I'm falling asleep. So.
This when you're up for a different reason,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, I'm just about to get into my good curve in the sheets.
I don't know. When I leave here, for some reason, I get like this boost of energy, and that's just, I guess, I'm just trying to catch up to the world. I'm on social media, maybe catching some stuff on TV. I'm catching up on Undisputed and First Take, so. I'm riding with both, man. I'm riding with Skip. I rocked with Skip since Cold Pizza, since he brought Stephen A. back on. You know what I'm saying? I was rocking with Stephen A. before he connected with Skip, back when he had his own show on ESPN. I forgot the name of the show.
Do you check out his podcast? Yeah, Quite Frankly, with Stephen A.
I absolutely check out his podcast. So I'm rocking with both of them. As of right now, I do feel like Undisputed is winning because I do like the multiple personalities or whatnot. And I mean, you have a Keyshawn Johnson who looks like I don't want to say a professional. I mean, he's been doing the radio broadcasting thing for a while. So I think that's why he's kind of set himself up to be the constant guy every day. And I think, it's just been 2 days with Stephen A.
Shout out to LA's own Keyshawn returning back to the land.
100%.
As I said, Dorsey, Don, Palisades, Dolphin, West LA. I think, what was our thing at West LA? I think we were the Oilers. I don't know. I don't kind of remember our mascot before he went to USC. So tap that off. We move around. Tony Yayo says, Stephen Wynn. He said, just call him the guy from Beef. I mean, he has a name. We want to respect people's names. Shout out to that. Tony Yayo also says, I hope Coco Gauff has more staying power than Naomi Osaka. I think Naomi needed a break, maybe. I mean, before she had her baby, I can't remember the last major that she had won. She started off hot. It just came in and it was a lot coming to her. And sometimes I think that we forget how young some of these stars are, how much pressure it is, and how kind of different it is now to a degree. Kind of on that topic, I'm going to kind of twist and lean. There was a conversation on Gil's Arenas, and right with me because this still has to do with Stephen A. Smith. And Rich Paul, who is, the CEO of Clutch Sports, LeBron James' agent, also, one of the top agents in the game right now across both NBA and NFL, at least his company is. He had a very profitable summer for his players this summer and conversation. And so obviously the conversation turned to a conversation that Rich Paul and Stephen A. had regarding who is the GOAT and who the antlers are. And so Stephen A. had said on his show that he told Rich Paul, basically, get out of here, get the bleep out of here. I can't take you seriously. We're having this conversation. So there was some back and forth on if Stephen A. really said that, what was the context of the conversation. What it sounds like from both of them is that they did have a conversation, that they are friendly, like good friends, determining how you feel a media and an agent person, how good of friends they can really be. But they have a healthy relationship. And it sounds like, when you're talking to your people, you're talking to your boy, and they say something, you're like, man, get out of here. It sounds like it was one of those things. And, people, the topic took it to mean more. But in the context of the conversation, Rich Paul's argument in LeBron over Jordan is one, just starting with the fact that the 24/7 news cycle that LeBron had to deal with, that Jordan didn't have to deal with. Fair. He also brought in that, LeBron has several media adversaries when all Jordan had was really like Peter Vesey or something like that. So fair to a degree, but he still was the center of conversation. Things may have taken days to come out as opposed to hours, but they still evolved. There was still conversation. So I don't know, does Jordan think that he had a pass back then? I feel like he would say no.
It's a weak argument for Rich Paul. First off, we already know you're going to ride with LeBron off the rip, right? But to use media as an example as to maybe...
It was one example.
But that one example is whack. In a lot of ways, LeBron James, he embraced it. Even in high school, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. If you was a Slam magazine fan, he had his little column towards the end. You know what I mean? Anytime you interviewed him in high school, you could tell like the man was media trained. So that argument right there, I'm sorry, I can't count that. I can't give that any weight.
Rich said that if Jordan's antlers are dipped in gold, LeBron's are dipped in platinum. Listen, we'll see.
What's that supposed to mean?
Platinum's more valuable than gold. In theory.
Stop it. 6 rings? Yeah.
6. What does Bron have now? 4?
Undefeated.
4.
He got 4.
Does he have 3 or 4?
Finals MVPs.
Yeah.
2012 he got Finals MVP. I believe 2013 he got Finals MVP.
I don't think anybody's ever won it over him on teams he's been on, right?
2016 he got Finals MVP. Yeah, he got Finals MVP all 4 years.
So, I mean, listen. Shout out to Shannon in the chat. Yes, you did meet Miss Alex. Circle back and check out hour 1 and some of hour 2. He was great. He gave us a lot of insight on some of these spots here in LA. The Jordan versus LeBron debate, Kobe's a hole in the middle. I suppose he kind of has a different status now because of his unfortunate passing, and how people view him. But I just think that you can't I think that the further that we get into this, I think comparing eras at this point is a waste. because, I mean, there's so many rule changes. The game is so different in 2023 than it was in 1993. Like, I'm not even talking like the 50s or way back. I'm talking, within a 30-year swing, the game looks very different. The players look different as far as their body types, the way they spread the floor. So I think that when we're trying to compare those intangibles or those moments, I mean, we can look purely on the surface, like, how many titles did he win? How many titles did he win? How many postseason awards? How many, first team all NBA and all of that? But realistically, I think that there is no way to compare eras. You can't.
It's what we do, though.
It's what we do, and we will continue to do so. But I just think in a real way, you really can't. There's no way for it to shape up. Fahima says King James is the GOAT for his time.
I think Steph Curry has something to say about that.
And I was going to say, it's an interesting conversation, much like a conversation that I didn't appreciate, and I thought y'all was some busters, but I understood it. Having the debate on
Magic.
No. I'm not even going that far back. I'm talking about Kobe and Tim.
What was the debate there?
I mean, how many rings does Tim have?
5.
How many rings does Kobe have?
5.
How many of those rings came against each other?
They met each other pretty often.
Right. So people are saying you could make it if the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Were Kobe's time, per se. Were they really, or were they Tim's? Because of how the titles went during 2000 to 2010. You've never seen this conversation, Andy?
Kind of, sort of. But I don't know. I don't know. I got it.
Like I said, some Mark Busters. Sorry.
Nobody talks about Tim Duncan as the GOAT, but they do talk about him as the greatest power forward of all time.
And here's the thing. If we are going to hold up Steph Curry and LeBron from 2010 to 2023, or however we're terming that period, and how many times they faced off, I can't say that it is unfair to include Tim Duncan in the conversation with Kobe, although it's never going to be Spurs over Lakers. When we come forward, of course, we will have more conversation about that. We'll get into more of these trending topics. Krishan Rock had her baby on Instagram Live. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Who are you? You look like a movie star. Well, what's your name and number? Is it true that you think I'm hot? If we try to get to know each other, you might find.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Every defendant in former President Trump's Georgia case is pleading not guilty. The final co-defendant in the election interference case waived their right to an in-person arraignment today. Trump and 18 others are accused of trying to overturn the state's 2020 election results. California healthcare workers rallied on Labor Day to call on one of the state's major medical companies, Kaiser, to provide better wages and staffing levels. Organizers said it was ready to kick off the biggest healthcare workers strike in U.S. history. Black Congressman Barbara Lee joined the protesters in Oakland, California. Students entering college this year are struggling with basic math, and colleges are mostly blaming COVID disruptions. Temple University's math chair says it's not just that they're unprepared, they're almost damaged. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
It's the tire sale of all tire sales. Buy 2, get 2 free. Now at your local Big O Tires. That's 2 free tires when you buy 2. Valid on select tires with the purchase of an alignment and tire protection package. Buy 2 tires, get 2 free. Now through September 17th. For your nearest store, visit BigOTires.com.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Keep following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars, working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage, career-track jobs. The Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing around anti-discrimination, learn about union apprenticeship programs, or sign on to a trade registry, please visit www.lablackworkerscenter.org. That's lablackworkerscenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new place. Nothing is everyday.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Watch out for CMB, baby. It's going down. You better watch out for cash money, cause we landed down. Money making is my thing, cause I'm trying to be rich, trying to put away meals. That's why I'm in the studio dropping hits.
Alright, I was confused at first. I guess I had never heard the opening to that. Like, what bars we got here? Shout out to BG. Released, what is it, 13 years? Something like that. Welcome home. Salute. I would imagine, you know, obviously you are extremely thrilled to have your freedom back and to reconnect with your loved ones, but it's got to be pretty overwhelming stepping out of prison, jail, whichever he was in, and coming into this world now. You think back 13 years ago, 2010, 2009, cell phone qualities improved, battery life, just even basic things. You think about streaming, how the differences, just some of the differences in our day to day. Was Uber a thing yet? Was it popping? Were we getting all of our food and overspending to have somebody drop a meal off at our house, paying $10 to $15, you know, over which you normally would pay just to have a run through? I don't know.
I think they might be hip to a couple things, because I know it's like a big thing for, you know, cellmates.
But you're not. I mean, yeah, they have cell phones, but they don't. Do they have the proper iPhones, or are they on, you know, like an iPhone 7 that doesn't have all the bells and whistles? You know, are they streaming their Netflix in there, or are they just, you know, I don't know what the rundown is. I know sometimes they live stream and they have rap shows, and I saw one TikTok, I think I might have talked about this on here, about the girl making makeup in jail, and she was using like Swiss Miss cocoa to make the coloring and all of this. Everybody's so creative. Hey,
for real though.
Listen, I mean, I don't know. They got a skill set that I couldn't even compete with. But even if you've been exposed to some of them, it's still not like nobody's rolling up with Uber Eats for you at the facility.
Yo, I saw a picture of Pop Smoke's killer. They had like Pizza Hut, you know what I'm saying, at their cell with a cell phone. I don't know how they got it in there. I don't know if it was a conjugal visit and here you go, or I don't know.
Conjugal visit means they gotta feed you too?
I don't know. But I was just surprised to see that he had 2 boxes of Pizza Hut up in there. It looked like it was multiple toppings on each one.
I'm surprised that the you know, I'm not talking about the guards. I'm talking about the unofficial guards in the system allowed him to be you know, comfortable like that.
Man, I don't know. And the way he was posing, I was just like, oh, he cocky. He's like, he know he done did something dirty, but
listen, I don't know. Speaking of, well, this isn't related. That's an awkward, rough transition. I don't mean it, but you guys will see why I'm kind of making sure to soft step my stance around this. So we talked about Diddy and him reassigning the publishing rights for his Bad Boy artists and songwriters. You know, they helped put together, obviously, Bad Boy Entertainment in the early 90s. So that includes music, songs from Mace, Faith Evans, The Lox, 112, and the estate of Notorious B.I.G. I will say that I thought 112 said that they never had any publishing issues when it came to Diddy, and that they actually retained a great deal of their publishing. So I was kind of curious about that. But what I will say is that generally publishing deals or rights deals are for about 35 years, I think, before the renegotiation period or, you know, something happens with them. And, you know, after that 35 years, with some conversation or things that happen, those masters can revert back to the original owners. I'm not sure of the process exactly. I don't want to misspeak on the total thing, but I know that the time frame is 35 years. We're in 2023. Bad Boy launched in about what, 94-ish? 93, 94-ish? So, realistically, with some of that catalog, not all, I'm just making an observation, it's almost time for those rights to revert back anyway. And for some of that catalog, who's really checking for it? Who's looking for it? Who's making money off of it? Aren't we past the money making years for some of that? So again, it's appreciated. It's the right thing to do. But I don't know if it is necessarily as generous as it appears to be on the surface. I suppose it doesn't have to be because, as I said last week, business is business, and some of the moves and the situations that Diddy made, I think, were just standard operating procedure in the music business. No matter how messed up we view it as, the reality is it cost a lot of money to make an album, to put an album out, to promote that, to put those artists on the road, to put stuff in the studio, and somebody has to pay for it. And if I am giving you those opportunities, I am expecting something big in return, because we aren't related. Andy?
So, like, what is the difference between publishing and, like, owning your masters?
It's the same,
It's
kind
pretty
of.
much the same.
It just depends on, there are mechanical royalties. There's different things structured into the deal. Depends on how many people wrote on the song, the producers with the track. Let's be real. There are sneaky ways that people can get money. There are sneaky ways that they can deny you money with these publishing deals. When you sign them, the idea is that you are signing kind of on your potential, what they envision that you will be making in the future. And so the structures of those deals and how they break down and the points can vary from deal to deal. Kind of depends on who you were dealing with and what your prowess is as a writer or what have you.
There's parts of me that feels like I know the pressure that Diddy had with regards to, giving back their publishing and whatnot. I know Mace went out on a tirade about, owing him money and whatnot. But I'm curious to know also with Diddy trying to transform into love now and whatnot, and he's all about love and R&B. I wonder if this is a part of the whole love movement.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Again, I don't know that with absolute uncertainty. My opinion says absolutely, because he's trying to restart, Love Records, Bad Boy 2.0. He's leaving Christian with Bad Boy, the imprint, so to speak, in his hands, or at least he, mentioned it, attempting to. I don't know if that will actually really come into fruition. But we also know that he is going through his paces with DeLeon and Ciroc and handling those liquor brands as independently. So he is once again on the different side of the business, and he needs allies with that. I'm sure he's going to need investors and things to move. So, positioning is everything in business. And it is something where, it makes you look good in the public eye. It's the right thing to do time-wise. What's really left for the most part, and it just kind of all fits together. So I don't know. Urban Spinster says, 94 was Flavor in Your Ear. The marketing campaign was the Big Mac. I remember the single was like Big and Mac, and it had both of them. And Fahima says, Diddy also gave Mississippi State $2 million. Yes, he did. He gave Jackson State, I think, $1 million, and he also gave $1 million to the Earn Your Leisure podcast. So Diddy is putting his money where his mouth is. People can change. Things can happen. You can learn from your mistakes, and people take money from sources that they don't necessarily trust or feel fully involved in all the time and use it for good. So, we'll have to see what happens with that. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Dominique DePrima here. Having a good credit score is one critical step to obtain a loan to buy a home. But did you know that your credit score is just one factor in getting a mortgage loan? Think about this. Lenders also consider your income, your employment history, current monthly debts, the size of the loan, and the amount of your down payment. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives support you in reaching them. Access your personal financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And of course, we were talking Diddy. And, would you trust him? Would you go into business with Diddy? Would you go into business with love? Love is spreading the love. He is donating to programs. He is attempting to, raise up the youth, get people more involved. But people are still like, his old school manner, his old school way of doing business in the past. They are still, I won't say bitter. They're still skeptical. They're still not quite ready to trust P. Diddy. Andy, would you sign a deal with Diddy? Like right now, if he came up to you and he was like, I have an offer for you, do you feel that he has sort of shown that he has a different business model for the 2023?
I don't even know. It depends on my role, and it depends if, if I'm going to get paid on the front end, then maybe. But if it's one of them situations where I got to work and I get paid on the back end, then I probably wouldn't even do it.
No, you couldn't mess with it?
Nah, man. You're not about to capitalize off of my free labor and then choose not to pay me because of some sort of loophole or something. So, nah, you're going to pay me up front.
So the story goes, Diddy allegedly turned down offers from, we're seeing all of these deals for artists where they're selling their catalogs or what they own for exorbitant amounts of money, like crazy stature, life-changing money, really, right? And so Diddy supposedly turned down all sorts of offers like that for the Bad Boy catalog because, he decided that he should give back to the people who helped build his company, which again, I'm sure, will make a lot of people excited, happy. He said the process to begin returning these rights to the artist began in May of 2021, and most of the parties have agreed to the deals and signed their contracts. There are others that are still trying to track things down. I mentioned that 35-year mark. So Bad Boy Records was established between Diddy, he was Puff back then, Puff Daddy, and Arista Records in 93. And obviously, we had Juicy, we had Mo Money, Mo Problems by Biggie, Flavor in Your Ear by Craig Mack. Craig Mack passed away, right? Yeah, okay. So I hope that his family is getting some proceeds. I hope there's something that they can do with them as well, because the thing that I also mentioned in a prior show is that there are a lot of people who have their masters or have their publishing rights and don't know what to do with them. They don't know how to get a deal to get them placed in a show or in a commercial. They don't know how to sell the rights to them so they can generate some capital now. So they have it, but it's like that saying that Jay-Z said, if you have 100% of a company that's not making any moves, what do you really have? So I think that is also something to keep in mind. While it is important for these artists to get their work, back in their own hands, not all of them are going to have the wherewithal, have the knowledge to make use of having them back, So at the time when those deals were made, it wasn't uncommon for labels, basically to secure a portion of the artist's publishing rights, when they sign deals. Now, of course, there's 360 deals, so labels have their hands in a little bit of everything. Mace obviously spoke out about his problems with Diddy. I wonder if he's even worried about those music royalties after that deal he and Cam signed with Underdog Fantasy Sports for It Is What It Is. By the way, I haven't checked out the episode yet, but just so you know, yesterday, I believe it was, maybe Sunday, but I think it was yesterday, they dropped their episode with O.J. Simpson as a guest. So I'm going to take that one for you, and I'm going to watch it and let you know what that was like, what the questions were like, what the conversation was like, because I see the vision, but not. And I just feel like that could be madness. And they said he was going to be their NFL insider this season. I don't know if they were kidding or if he was just the special guest for this particular show. But I did think it was interesting and sort of daring and sort of the approach that the various underdog shows seem to be taking with, out of the box approaches to content and their guests.
I pray for positive energy on that show. Just positivity on that show, because having OJ, it's aired already, obviously. I haven't watched it. You haven't watched it yet. So I just, I know how far Mace and Cameron could go. I'm just curious to know where OJ stands on a lot of topics or whatnot. So we'll see.
Listen, OJ is always on Twitter making his videos. Hello, world. It's me, OJ. And then he proceeds to give his opinion. And that is exactly how he opens it and breaks it down. That's his little opening. And he has a fan base.
He does.
Yeah. Fahima says, correct. Yeah, I did. Yeah, he gave Jackson State $1 million, and he gave Earn Your Leisure $1 million, and that's where the $2 million came from. And that was about 2 weeks ago at the Invest Fest conference. Of course, Earn Your Leisure, the podcast group, they have a show that is on Diddy's Revolt called Assets and Liabilities. So I don't know if that was really just kind of buying into the company, blase, blase, blah. But, you know, good for him. So, yeah, I'm going to check out It Is What It Is, the O.J. Simpson episode. I'm curious as to what type of questions they asked him and how far he let them go. Because, I don't think that we are in the era where a knife joke would fly. But if anybody was going to let a knife joke or somehow fly out, I feel like it would be Cam and Mace right now. So, Fahima says, why? So you asking why am I going to watch and check it out? I'm going to check it out because it's newsworthy, because I want to know what they're doing. I want to know the type of conversations that they have, because let's be realistic. They just signed a 7 or 8 figure deal with Underdog Fantasy Sports. They are going to invest a lot in them. Underdog Fantasy Sports has invested a lot in Gilbert Arenas. That podcast is climbing. Those video views are climbing. And they are shaping sort of the next wave of your athlete journalists and leading those conversations. And, I want to stay tapped in. And, we are here to give you all the trends and headlines. So I take those strays so you don't have to.
Hey, I'm watching it with you, Jill. Don't trip. You ain't going to be on. I'll be watching. I'll be tapped in with some popcorn.
So we're going to see what's up. Thank you for rocking with us, of course, here on RSVP with Jill Munroe VIPs. The after hours, we were a little tame tonight, a little low key, but stay tuned. Because there's always more, right? There is always more. Coming up this week, tomorrow is Wednesday. So that means we have Trent Jackson, Trent the Artist, locking in with us. We have our Tubi movie review. Of course, we'll have some more headlines and trending topics to go over. I hope that you have had an amazing night. I hope that you are relaxed and ready to do this all over again tomorrow, right? Right. Thank you for rocking with us, VIPs. When we come forward, you will be checking out the best of KBLA. Right now, I'm going to bid you a good night. Thank you for checking in.
It's God's work, man. It's God's work. I ain't got nothing to do with this.